Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Wrestling Challenge review series. Yes, a new series here on the channel. Wrestling Challenge, of course, the B show for World Wrestling Federation from 1986 till about 1995. I think the last show was in 95. I'm pretty sure on that. But they've added some of the episodes to the network. There's also a bunch on YouTube and other forms of social media. So we're going to start the new series. I grew up on Wrestling Challenge. The first show I ever saw was a Superstars event, but Challenge and Superstars were back to back in my local market, so you could get a 2-hour block of WWE slash F syndication, F at the time, on a Saturday morning to afternoon. I think it was like 11 and noon or noon and 1 or something like that. In any event, so growing up with Wrestling Challenge and growing up with the nature of those programs, I didn't get cable where I lived, in my house that is, until 1992. So that was at the end of primetime wrestling. So for me, primetime wrestling was always kind of one of those. I guess you'd say I'd get a couple of primetime episodes here and there. Every once in a while, my grandparents would record a version of primetime, and that was enjoyable. But needless to say, and without a doubt, you'd have Wrestling Challenge and Superstars on the weekend. And for me, this was, for lack of a better term, guaranteed programming, can't miss programming. And so we start with the first 10 or 12 episodes of Challenge. I'm going to be adding to these. Hopefully they put the full run up on the network over the next few years. I think they should put things up a year at a time, but I understand they're desperate to keep people subscribed to their stuff, and they're adding the library slowly so that they can tease people who actually care about quality wrestling content in that way. Anyway, so we open with the U.S. Express versus Don Muraco and Mike Sharp. I think it's Mike Sharp. Maybe it's Ben Sharp. But, Muraco, of course, at this point, former Intercontinental Champion, multi-time. It is Mike Sharp. And so the U.S. Express is the replacement for Rotundo and Wyndham, which later become, or now is Rotundo and Spivey. At the time, I'm pretty sure, at least for part of this time, they're using Born in the USA, which has been edited out on the network. Needless to say, Challenge is a program that had very basic stuff. We see Rotundo and Sharp, the ones that Rotundo and Muraco, the ones that start off. Side headlocks and really basic stuff by Rotundo. Rotundo, of course, former tag team champion with Barry Windham, who later becomes IRS. And that's kind of an interesting evolution of a gimmick there. But anyway, at this point, I think they really did think they had something in Dan Spivey. They necessarily didn't, and Spivey comes in, hits a body slam, and some arm drags on Muraco. Muraco, of course, his biggest feud is with, without a doubt, Superfly Snook a few years prior, but he's still here for another couple of years. Big back body drop on Sharp, who tags in. Drop kick by Spivey. Fuji on the outside because he's still managing Muraco at this point. Tag off to Rotundo once again, who takes an airplane spin, which is a move we barely see anymore these days, if at all. And then, we kind of see Rotundo get caught up, and all four guys in the ring for a little bit here. A roll-up, and the referee is distracted. Spin around by the heels, and Muraco comes in once again, kind of shifting, and Eventually, a small package win for the baby faces is the way things go. Savage with a rebuttal. Basically, the rebuttal is eventually replaced by update. But at this point, rebuttal is a short, probably 30 to 60-second promo talking about an issue in the programming at the time. Savage basically saying that Elizabeth gets more respect and adoration than he does, and he doesn't like it. He complains about that for a few seconds. Not the best of promos, but it's there. Tommy Sharp, who I don't think is related to Mike Sharp, against Adrian Adonis here. Jimmy Hart managing Adonis. Of course, this is months before Adonis and Piper go at it. WrestleMania 3. Cowboy Bob Orton has been hired by Jimmy Hart as a bodyguard, away from Roddy Piper, oddly enough. Of course, Piper and Orton, a big deal for about 2 years, maybe a little more than that. But anyway, Adonis manages to kind of go around, and certainly he's at a peak weight, not in a good way. He rolls around a bit and tries to lock up with Sharp. Gets a monkey flip on Sharp. There's an inset promo where Orton kind of talks about Hart paying him well and treating him well. Back kick by Adonis. Adonis almost doing an Adrian Street style gimmick with the pinkish purple tights and mascara and rouge and all this stuff. I don't know where the gimmick would have gone had he lasted longer. I know it is kind of blown off right after WrestleMania 3, so it doesn't last too terribly long, especially when he was considered a major tough guy at the time. Adonis does throw his man out to the floor, and a couple of shots taken by Hart and Orton. He comes back in, and ultimately there's a toss across the ring there. Once again, Adonis manages to get the victory. He gets his victory with a, let's see, kind of a little bit of a modified bulldog there, and some interference as well, double team with almost a clothesline off an elevated back suplex style position by Orton, and the cheating is there. Bob Orton basically admits the money, the power, the influence, the better quality matches are the reasons he joined with his adversary there. And then we move to Coco Ware, who has just come into the area pretty recently, probably within a couple of months of here in September. And he's come in off of, I'd say, a pretty strong run in Memphis. He comes in as the Birdman, Coco Beware. He's already dancing, coming out to Bird, Bird, Bird. Pile Driver, which is the song that I grew up with being played before WWF house shows. That was like the beginning track. But anyway, what's interesting is the Pile Driver thing doesn't come out for a little less than a year. And Coco dances around. Coco, I think, is a guy who is greatly underrated in that he had a run from 86 to about 93, 94, which for that time period is pretty huge. And he was figured into something the majority of that time, even if it was upper enhancement matches, making guys look good. The only reason he left is because he got into it with an office staff member. I don't remember the details, but I know that there was a physical altercation between Coco and an office staff member, and that led to him being let go. Coco uses some power here, goes at it pretty well with his opponent. Rita Charlton, I believe that's her last name, is the first female referee. There is a crossbody and a near fall by Coco there, but she's the first female referee. She later accuses Vince McMahon of sexual impropriety, so that's an interesting thing there. I think that case was settled out of court or something. Sharp goes to the top rope, misses an elbow or knee drop. I don't know what he was actually going for because Koko moved out of the way before he hit it. Anyway, Koko kind of stalking and Mock flying around. Back elbow by Koko. Koko sends his man into the ropes. Drop kick by Koko. And a second one under the chin. And ultimately, Koko gets a victory pretty quickly there and dances his way into happiness. He hits a top rope drop kick for that victory. And we move on to the next segment of the program, Mr. Wonderful against Troy Martin. Troy Martin, a name you may not know, but probably should. Shane Douglas is the man that, the wrestler that Troy Martin, real name, portrayed the majority of his career. I think this is one of maybe one or two enhancement matches where Martin uses his legal name and then does enhancement matches as Mike Kelly, I think on the same taping. Of course, this is the time when Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, has just recently turned heel on Hulk Hogan. So Orndorff, if you're too old for this run, or too young for this run, came into the WWF around 84 as a heel, turns babyface right after WrestleMania 1 for about a year, and then turns back heel on Hogan and stays around until sometime in 87. So from 84 to 87, Orndorff very much at the top of the cards, and this is the run where Orndorff and Hogan main event an over 60,000 sold out outdoor stadium in Toronto for the big event. If you've never seen that match, or the Hogan and Orndorff cage match from Saturday night's main event around 86, 87, both worth going out of the way to see. Honky Tonk Man does an inset promo here and kind of talks about Orndorff getting under his skin for attacking Hulk Hogan. A lot of people don't realize this, but for the first 3, I think somewhere between 3 but less than 6 months, Honky Tonk Man is a babyface in the WWF before turning in time for WrestleMania 3. But anyway, Orndorff is pretty dominant here, headlocks, and he takes the man to the outside, body slams him, and then sends him over the guardrail, and Orndorff is in control. Orndorff, of course, once again, kind of a guy who, uses every advantage he can get. Big dropkick under the chin by Orndorff, which is rare. You don't necessarily see Orndorff leave his feet too often, but he does at times. I love the B. Brian Blair and Orndorff series. I think we've seen that in Mid-South. There are WWF versions of same. They are tremendous combatants with each other over the years. So if you've ever a chance to see B. Brian Blair and Paul Orndorff, it's worth seeing. Stomp and kick by Orndorff, and then a pile driver gets him the finish. And Troy Martin, a.k.a. Shane Douglas, down for the count there. Then we go to the Snake Pit, which is Jake the Snake Roberts interview segment with Kamala and the Wizard. It's really short, less than 2 minutes, might even be less than 90 seconds. But Roberts does an intro, basically putting over the dangerous nature of Kamala. The Wizard kind of talks in infantical ways about going to the deepest, darkest parts of the various areas and creating some trouble there. Anyway, then we see the British Bulldogs and the Moondogs. Moondogs, of course, former tag team champions. Bulldogs, the current tag team champions, picking those championships up at WrestleMania 2 in April of 86, and this is September, so they are in the midst of their run. Captain Lou Albano is their manager. Albano, of course, managing some 20 tag teams over the years, 2 tag team championship glory. Hard shots by the Bulldogs on their adversaries, including a snap suplex by a much thinner, much more bodily ready Davey Boy Smith, and he comes out of that. Dynamite comes in after a little while and takes a more aggressive, active approach in the match. But trip from the outside by Moondog Spot. I think it's Spot and Rex in this occasion. Spot, the Moondog that I'm most familiar with. I'm trying to remember. We had a Moondog Cujo and a Moondog Mayhem on the New England independent scene for a while in the late 90s, early 2000. There was also a Moondog Maximus. I don't know if it was all the same guy, but I know there was some Moondogs knockoffs making their rounds in the early 2000s on the New England independent scene. Never worked with any, but went to shows where they were present. Anyway, so, the Moondogs are cutting the ring off on the Bulldogs. So, two groups of dogs in the middle of the ring here. And some sunset flips. Really basic stuff. Lou Albano going nuts at ringside, as is one to be par for him. And again, they cut off the Bulldogs from each other for quite a bit there. And hard clotheslines by Dynamite Kid. Dynamite Kid, of course, known for hitting hard strikes, known for being a guy who causes trouble where he can, and a hanging suplex by the brown-haired Moondog, who I'm going to call Rex just because, and that kind of keeps going a little bit. The Bulldogs match is pretty major at the time. It's interesting because there used to be, on Superstars and on Challenge, used to be at least one weekly, I guess you'd say, non-enhancement match, and then the rest were enhancement. But win for the Bulldogs, pretty aggressively there. Bulldogs with a top rope maneuver, 1, 2, 3, gets the win. Comments from Jake Roberts and the Macho Man. Basically, they make an alliance, and Roberts talks about wanting to get rid of Steamboat. Steamboat and Savage are overlapping already here in September of '86. Roberts is ready to go and really aggressive with all of it. And then we close this particular audio. I'm going to bring you at least September's challenge stuff here today. They only have up through November, so I'm going to go out of sequence pretty quickly. But we're going to do the best we can to give you the most comprehensive audio we can of Wrestling Challenge and other things on the channel. Over 1,000 audios, hopefully something you like. Anyway, until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.